Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reels and Riddims, brought to you by Carry On Friends in partnership with Style and Vibes and Breadfruit Media. And Reels and Riddims brings you commentary, reviews, and perspectives to the fresh world of TV, film, and concerts with plenty vibes, as only Michaela and I can, through the lens of Caribbean culture, Caribbean American, immigrant, and first generation experience. Wagwan, my dupes.
Enough things that you know. We are full
Me
of
know.
experience.
Full, listen, full hop of experience. The resume is long.
The resume is long. Yes. Well, we are resume the things. So very excited to be kicking off
Nice
our season.
segue.
And that's my name was. So reels and rhythms, we of course watch all of these amazing pieces of content, whether it be film or series, and documentaries, and our thing is to do a rating system. So I think for this season we had some new ideas because we are bringing different kind of vibes, so we want to add little flavor to the rating system where we have. So, our original rating system were based on three categories: accent, character development, and storyline. So, Carrie, tell them about the new category we are add in the rating system. Yeah.
All right, so it can't be reels and riddims without the riddim section. So one of the categories that we are adding is music and sound, particularly the relevance to the music or the soundtrack in alignment with the story. Does it fit? Does it enhance the storyline? And that really was something that came out a lot from watching Champion, which was all about the music. We also talked about it in Three Little Birds and also with Queenie. The music and even some of the things that we're going to review, the music, the song choices at a particular time was really on point, on cue for the character, for the storyline. So, for instance, the Reels and Rhythms rating system first came up in a Style and Vibes episode. We were talking about Michelle Buteau's Survival of the Thickest. And you remember the scene when she was pretending to be in the club and she cock up on the wall and dance? There was a dancehall song, a reggae song that was playing. That is timely. That was really good. To us it's like a no-brainer, but we've seen instances where they're playing the wrong song for the wrong for the moment. And so music is part of is one of the new categories that we feel is important in assessing what we're watching. So, and I mean, it is reels and rhythm, so we can't leave out the music part because that's what Michaela and I love. And then the other category that we're bringing also in is called visual authenticity. And it's about capturing the look, feel, the atmosphere of Caribbean culture through different settings. So it could be, is the setting in the Caribbean? Is it supposed to be in Brooklyn? Is it supposed to be in Miami? Is it authentic in its representation of the locale, it says, right? So those are also important. Again, big up to Champion, that whole setting and that whole shooting in Jamaica was also key. But if we go back even to the archives, we think of Belly. Belly wasn't a Caribbean film, right? But Hype Williams understood what it meant to be shooting Jamaicans, right? And the whole scene going back to Jamaica, it was just, again, capturing visually, and everyone is just like, yeah, I feel like more go Jamaica after seeing like parts of that. So those are the two new categories: music, and sound, and visual authenticity.
And one thing that also came up as we were kind of identifying the new categories is evaluation of the old categories, and one of them being the accent. So Carrie and I are Jamaican, and so a lot of the movies and films that we experience are a lot are have Jamaican characters or descendants of Jamaicans. However, there are other English speaking, Spanish speaking, French speaking Caribbean characters played on other um, pieces of content, which potentially could come up. And we were discussing the idea of, should we be evaluating accents of countries that we are not heritaged to? And in my opinion, I think, yeah, we can, bossy up myself in a business.
I don't
I mean,
think that was the issue me have. All right.
it's not.
The- I-
All right, go on, Carrie, go on.
no, it wasn't that. It's not that I don't think we can, right? But in my instance, so I watched Bad Monkey on Apple Plus, Apple TV, and one character, I looked him up, he's actually Bahamian, but I'm not familiar enough with a Bahamian accent to really know the minutia or the detail. I'm very familiar with a Trini accent, a Guyanese accent, or a Bayesian accent, but I realized in watching this and thinking through our rating system, I don't know if I know the Bahamian accent that well to even say, is he doing a good job of the Bahamian accent? And then when I think about this, you think of all the other Caribbean countries, St. Vincent, all these other places. So that's kind of where our discussion comes up. And um, Michaela feels like we should. And I mean, to the extent that I feel like it's recognizable or believable, because again, I think a lot of times what they do with these accents, they say the person's from Bahamas, but they're trying to do a Jamaican accent in the process of
That too.
the character. So
Mhm.
this is just saying that we're not saying we're an expert on all accents from the Caribbean, but we know enough. And me talking about the character in Bad Monkey was me being honest to say I don't know. I mean, I do know some Bahamian, big up to Bahamianista, but I don't remember her accent, comparing it to this character on in Bad Monkey and so forth. So
And I think it's a good thing to evaluate, because essentially we're holding space for people of other cultures to kind of weigh in, and we're taking that care and understanding going into the review. So I think that we should keep it, but keep in mind that same, if we're not familiar, or if there's something that we could leverage either our audience or someone else in our community to kind of give that authenticity to. And that's what it means to kind of share and save space for people who should be at the table, right? And I think what I loved about the conversation and why we wanted to have that conversation on the podcast is, again, it's really taking into consideration those outside of our norm. It doesn't mean that we have any less expertise, but I also think that a Trini can clearly spot when there's a fake Jamaican accent and vice versa. And there are things that we know, especially living in the US, particularly in New York or metropolitan areas where there are so many different cultures integrated into space. We talk about Brooklyn being the United States of the Caribbean. Like, that is a space where you constantly hear different accents over time, and so you become used to and familiarized with a lot of the accents. That doesn't mean you understand every single one. We as Jamaicans even understand, like, there are some people who have different accents than we do, just being in the country. And it's the same as being in the US. Someone who speaks English from the South, from New Orleans, talks very different than someone from Chicago. And it's really just an accent thing, right? And so there's a level of authenticity that you can hear automatically. And if I think that the intuition around, like, that, does that sound right? Are they saying anything? I remember when Black Panther came out and we saw videos of Lupita Nyong'o, and they were in, I think, South Korea. I can't remember, in the scene in Black Panther, and then there were Koreans sharing commentary on whether what she was saying was actually actual or factual or even close to the accent. And she didn't quite get it right, but in their perspective. But I'm glad that they gave space for that
South Korea or
evaluation.
South Africa?
No, South Korea, because when they went to the gambling place and the
Oh,
woman
got it.
outside, yeah, the woman outside where they were in Korea and they were
Mm.
talking Korean. And so they questioned, because that was, I think, filmed in
But it
somewhere
goes
in
back.
Asia, but I don't know. But I remember seeing that video distinctly, and they were literally asking Korean Americans, like, "What is she saying?" And they were like, "She's not saying anything." So
But I mean, we brought this up too in season 2 where we're like, all this time we've been watching Coming to America and all these shows where American actors are playing African characters. Like I remember Forrest Whitaker playing Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland, and all of
mhm.
this is just like how our African cousins have been dealing with this, and just to get their perspective,
Yeah.
or to be in their shoe to kind of see how they're being represented. And like you said, you know we know accents vary within the country. When someone's from Brooklyn versus someone is from Boston or somewhere. It's the same thing. If you're in Jamaica, someone's from Kingston or another part of Jamaica, a different parish. And so it's the same with accents. They morph and they take on a different form depending on the country the person is in, the state, city that they live in, all of that good stuff. So I think that adds to the richness and the diversity of what it means to speak with a Caribbean accent or coming from the Caribbean. So, yes, I'm excited about the new season, the new rating system, and all the things. I feel very excited about Reels and Rhythms, and where we are going and what we're talking about. And I get to watch TV and labrish about all the things that I'm watching on TV. So I'm excited.
Yeah, the new additions, I think, add additional context and just give us more to talk about on Reels and Rhythms, you know?
Absolutely. And so, yeah, we just wanted to slide in and give you this setup for the new season because we realized that we didn't really educate you on our rating system and where it comes from. We'll put a link to the original episode that we were talking about. The rating system came up, and we'll have a blog post where you could read more about it. And we'd love for you to participate, and even think of these as you are watching your own series or TV, movies or whatever you're watching, and let us know, do you like the categories or not? But until next time, go and watch some TV, walk good. Everything is
Later.
everything.